So feel free to ask us anything. You can direct your question at the whole panel or at anyone in particular. Does anyone, do you want to start off with any?
Well, we asked them to go into groups and come up with a couple of questions. So should we go around the groups? Should we start here? Are there any questions from your group?
Sure. I have a question direct at you, Simon.
Okay.
So you said in New Zealand, the working culture, not New Zealand, but in Christchurch, the working culture or environment is unique, even compared to other places in New Zealand. So
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I think just to reiterate what we've all been saying is that a lot of people hire through direct through working with tertiary, so just it's not necessarily a job that's been advertised on Seek. They hire through their networks, so plenty of examples of people working in engineering, going to the sort of aerospace meetups and meeting connections, or some of the different tech meetups, and just contributing to those different meetups on the website meetup.com. Okay. And just networking and getting jobs that way. Something else that we talk to students about with some of the groups that we work with sometimes is about targeting and calling organisations direct. And if you have really done your homework on an organisation and asked people, even if they're not expecting a call, and ask them to go for a coffee, there are quite a lot of people here that will do that. Not every person that you ring will want to go for a coffee with you, but if you've really done your homework, usually sort of 1 in 4 and in Christchurch will say, sure, I'll go for a coffee with you. And lots of examples of people having done that, and then in a couple of months, just through creating those relationships and being really interested in that business and saying you want to work for them, and then getting into the workforce.
I'll say as well just why Christchurch is different from the other cities, why that's different. I think a big part of it is because of the earthquake, and that businesses here are very collaborative. So industries sort of tend to be quite close. Different businesses will work together, so they all know each other. And that's probably one of the reasons that it's a bit different to Auckland and Wellington, for example, is just that it's a very collaborative, close community. And part of that is because we've had to all work together through some of the difficulties that the city's had. So it's a different sort of environment, much more supportive and connected and collaborative, I think.
Thank you.
Was there any other questions from your group?
So far, so good.
It was just the one question? Okay, excellent.
Okay, cool.
What about the next group? Over the back. What did you guys come up with?
I was having a question for Robyn. For the career coming up the following week.
Yes.
Is there any portal or website so that we can go through the prospectus of the companies and have a deeper knowledge of the companies, so that when we come on the day, we can come prepared? And what are the roles and what questions do we have?
Okay, it's excellent idea. So I emailed out yesterday, and an attachment with that was the list of the organisations that are coming. So I would strongly recommend that you go through, you look at that list, you highlight the ones that you think you know a little bit about and that you think you might be interested in. Go onto their website, do some research. Even the ones that you are completely unfamiliar with, check them out. Preparation, preparation, preparation. Fantastic if you're able to go up to them at the fair and say, look, I see you've been working in this particular area, I'm really interested in that, can you tell me a little bit more about it? What would I need to be able to give to you for you to be interested in employing me? Don't be too put off at the moment about employers who are saying that they only want to hear from New Zealand residents and citizens. Obviously you have, if you're graduating this year, you have the right to work for 3 years. It's an opportunity for you to show them why they need you and to sell yourself, and I'd strongly recommend that you do that. Is that okay?
Yeah, that answers. Thank you.
Any other questions from that group? Is there a second question?
Previously, you mentioned in Christchurch there are like about 40,000 job vacancies.
Yes.
In the future. I just wonder, not all these job vacancies are available for graduates, right? I reckon most of them actually open for senior or someone who has already been in industry for a while?
Well, some will be. So essentially the shortage of our economy continues to grow. At the current rate is 73,500 workers. And so of those, we estimate about 40,000 are going to be skilled workers. I think, yes, some of them will be senior, but I think if you look at Christchurch at the moment, we have skills shortages, but we don't have sort of severe skills shortages. What our economy really needs in terms of employment and where we're going to need is really young people. So I think you'll find a lot will be graduates, which probably goes to the presentation I was talking about before, that a lot of those reasons for there not being as many jobs advertised as a lot of them are graduate roles that aren't just through SEEK, they're through Uni Career Hub or engaging with tertiaries direct. So I don't have a number on it. I think out of that 40,000, Karen, we estimate about 28,000 will be tertiary related, so coming through the tertiaries. So yeah, more than half. Absolutely.
Another question from your group?
Christchurch, New Zealand is a tourism website. So, I mean, how can we exactly get in touch relating to jobs or something like that with Christchurch, New Zealand?
Very good question. So we're a recently formed agency. So we are all of the sort of parts of the city that help grow the economy, which is tourism, major events, economic development, and mainly those things. So at the moment we only have a tourism website. We're currently putting together a business attraction, talent attraction, and business support website.
That was very well spotted.
Very well spotted.
Yeah.
No,
You're right.
good. Absolutely.
When can we expect it to be up online or?
I think the full website will be up sort of October-ish. But I mean, if you are looking for jobs, then probably, and if you're looking online, then probably SEEK or somewhere if you are looking sort of for jobs. Christchurch NZ won't list jobs. The Supernode website that I talked about, that will have a bit more detail, that will be up. The first sort of stage of that will be up before the end of June.
Yeah, so we do some work with sort of grads and interns, but we really just strongly encourage you all to work through UC careers, particularly in the first instance, or your department heads, and absolutely, they'll point you in the right direction.
Thank you.
More questions?
Next group. Is there a group over here? Or?
Yes, what about the back group down this side? Do you have a question too?
Well, just like to ask, because some of the questions have been answered, in case if a graduate wants to start a business,
yes.
And what sort of opportunities have we got, and do we have a visa list, and what sort of avenues?
The question was, if a graduate wants to start a business, can you at the moment? So at the moment it is difficult. The current ruling on it, just on that post-study work visa, is that you can be an employee or a contractor. We're currently working with UCE and a lot of other regions to develop a variation to the post-study work visa. Unfortunately, that's probably going to take about another 18 months to actually go through. There are some opportunities at the moment, like if you have developed a business that is developing some really good IP, or potentially going to employ a lot of New Zealanders, there is the entrepreneur visa, but the bar for that is pretty high. So yeah, we're working on something in the pipeline. But I think if you have got some good business, business or ideas, I just encourage you again to just connect to those communities, go and work with those different working groups. Potentially there's a way of collaborating with some of the other people in the ecosystem of whatever field it is that you're in.
Can I just add something to that as well? A friend of mine has an aerospace business here in Christchurch, and he's just teamed up with a graduate in exactly that position, wanted to have his own business, and so by teaming up with the local, you can then do something. So that comes back to that networking as well.
Thank you. Let's move over to this side. Are there some questions over here? We've got the, yes, thank you.
So do Christchurch NZ or Skybase provide internship program for university students?
Good question. Yes.
We do have Christchurch NZ has its own internship program that we run. I would first of all just try and concentrate on getting an internship through UC Careers or your department and the course that you're doing. But yeah, if you're in a course that doesn't have an internship, feel free to contact us and we can try and point you in the right direction. But yeah, generally start with sort of UC Careers. In terms of Skybase, so I guess we're sort of working with helping join together some dots at the moment with Skybase and UC Business and Law. But
and so we work. Most businesses will work with someone like Christchurch NZ or UC Careers. So that's really the best funnel to go through. And then they'll put people where they think they're best suited.
For one of the internship for the UC Career office is because I'm the first year electronics student. I think most of us is coming to here to talking about like internships, and it's our first year being this kind of situation to find an internship. So I would like to ask, when should we start to preparing for an internship, or when should we looking for to the events or whatever?
We would say it's never too soon to start. That would be our really strong recommendation. We would love to see more of our first year students who are keen to be looking for employment opportunities, looking for opportunities that align with their study, or perhaps you're investigating where you think you might want to go, and it's a great opportunity to try something before you fully commit. We do know in the past it's led to students making changes in the papers that they're studying because they've found somewhere that they're particularly passionate about. So a number of the internships, the structured programs, they're probably looking more at penultimate students, but that is not to say that there are not opportunities for someone in their first year, and we would encourage you to come and meet with one of our careers consultants and work through how we can find that opportunity for you, or get you to find that opportunity for you. Yeah.
So as an engineering student, you'll have quite a structured program of the type of summer work you need to take on. So you need to follow the guidance of your department. Some other departments, if there's an internship offered within that department, again, you need to follow the requirements of that department. But there is also a program on campus you may not be aware of, an arts internship program, that anybody can take a course through this program, even if you are currently doing a science degree or some other degree. If you are allowed to take one paper outside of your course structure, your current degree structure, you could make that an arts internship program. And if they can find a match for your interests and skills with some community organisation that is willing to take an intern, then you could have a course-based internship through the arts internship program.
So you mean when I'm taking a course and in the same time I have an internship while during my study?
During your studies, you would get, chances are you might not be paid for it, but you would get course credit for it. So most of those are done throughout one semester, but some of them can also be done in the summertime.
Am I correct that in electronics you do internships in your second and third year as part of your course?
Yes, you can start doing your internship from first pro to third pro. You just need to kind of 100 hours of professional hours.
Yes.
Practical professional.
Is there anything available with healthcare sector, like healthcare education sector?
Healthcare.
It's not teaching directly into medical as such. Probably where we can support you around that is once again giving you the skills or helping you develop the skills to be able to go out and find those opportunities yourself. So Simon's been talking about the ability to cold call, if you like, for you to identify the company you're really interested in, and then being confident enough to email them, phone them, actually go in and see them. So probably, you know, that would definitely be something we could help you with. We do have Danone who are coming to campus next week. So they cross the health sector, but probably it's one of those times where it would be better if we can identify who you're interested in working for and then helping you.
So I'm a candidate in health information management endorsement. In Christchurch is the main city that they are focusing with the current district health board has been focusing on electronic health records and the health information sector. So probably as of now we don't have any internships like that from UC careers somewhere else. But I'm looking for any kind of opportunities in health boards to develop ourselves in the electronic health records. That's a very good help for us to continue in that sector.
Have you had a meeting with either of our careers consultants? Have you come in and had a chat to them?
Yeah, last time I have met with the career people in the UC.
Okay.
There's nothing like, they say nothing they would find out any internship that time, like 3 months or 4 months back. Then I thought like after completing my graduation, maybe that's the right time for me to approach whom we can contact for the right person and right area to go. But right now I'm in the middle of the semester, I'm in the second semester. So I felt like this is the right time, till 3 more months only are for me to complete the course. So
have you been, have you been reaching out, making contact with any of those?
Yeah, not now. I have been gone through in the past, like 3 to 4 months back I have been like with you people, but right now I have to step up for that.
Okay. But the reality is most of the potential internships will never make it to our database to be advertised.
Okay.
So you do need to try and make contact, do the networking yourself. So come to see us to get help with that process. But what you are going to need to do all by yourself is to call the companies that you might like to work for, or find some other way of connecting with them through LinkedIn, or maybe email them first. But at least you need to make that contact and start having a conversation with them. Once you get to know them, they may create a position for you.
Because
and that's how a lot of the internships actually develop. They don't get to be advertised, students create them for themselves.
Today I have attended a video call, like Skype interview with one of the company which is based in the Christchurch.
That's
so
great.
I'm waiting for the participants. But it's very much relevant for my profession, for my studies.
That's great.
It's very much relevant to my studies right now. They are doing the exact business what I'm studying now.
Okay.
So
That's
if
great.
I,
So it sounds like a perfect fit.
if UC careers would help me in that way, anything like
We can
if
help
I
you
would-
prepare for interview skills
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
And
I have done the
of
interview
course,
by
when you
today afternoon 12:30 p.m.
Okay.
The HR department have contacted me for that interview. They
Right.
have
Okay.
when you have interview with
Yeah.
one company, you're also exposing yourself, or like letting yourself be known to those people. So each time you interview, it's helping to broaden your network as well.
Good luck, and I'll just
Yeah.
reiterate what's been said here about
Thank you. Thank you very much.
trying to find those other businesses in the community and in health systems, because you're definitely in the right town for that course of study, and targeting them, which I'm sure UC Careers will be able to help you with.
You can go online onto the Career Hub database to make an appointment, or you can come and see us afterwards if you're having any issues. Now, one thing to be aware of too, if you have a Skype interview scheduled, we have a room in the UC Careers office that you can book. So we will help you set up the equipment, and it's a nice quiet room. There's also a whiteboard there if you want to be able to, have something on the whiteboard in the background. So just come see us, or email or phone us to reserve a time to use that room.
I have a question for the tech industry. Do you see tech opportunities in the region? Because one of the slides that you had, we noticed that ICT and media, it was quite small compared to growth in other industries.
Well
so
picked up.
for an IT graduate, how do you see it in the future?
So the reason for that is, and it goes to the slides that Karen had in terms of our areas of regional strength, it's because tech is moving from being a tech industry by itself to being ubiquitous in everything. So it actually being within every industry that you do, whether that's the sort of health tech, you might have seen the titles, health tech and agri-tech and future food and aerospace and future transport. It's all, tech is enabling that. And I think probably the course that you're both studying as well is a good example of that. There's a really strong industry need for those people who can go in and understand information systems. 2 years ago when we started doing this with MBA students, it was a lot of industry found it really difficult to understand what they were going to do, but now we can't get enough of them. And we were having a conversation before about a future where they're more of sort of referred to as part of a sort of like a STEM student. So yeah.
A good example of that is our mapping business. We work with another company here in Christchurch and talking about setting up a server farm out near the airport so that we can store the data and manage the data and have the information portals be able to access the data. So that's a very IT-centric activity, but it's not at all our core business. So it's a supporting function that enables the core business. So
we're nearly out of time, but is there one more question? Has anyone got a burning question? This is your opportunity.
I noticed that the aerospace industry has been in Christchurch by your slides. I was just wondering how many companies are there?
Good question. I'm not sure exactly how many. Yeah. There's a lot of activity. There's Skybase. What's the flying Zephyr Airways here. UC Rocketry School and some other projects that are sort of yet to be announced that are working to look at potential future launching sites.
And also, I mean, the aerospace community, as Simon's been talking about, these communities to connect into. There's a really strong aerospace community that has meetups every 2 or 3 months, and we can sort of connect you in so that you're invited along to those. But I was at one about a month ago, and there's sort of 80 or 100 people at those meetups.
Oh wow!
And a lot of them are it's entrepreneurs, it's small startups. So it might not look like there's a really big industry at the moment, but there really is a lot of activity, and that's a very strong community and network here. So that would be perfect for you.
And a couple of very well-established aerospace businesses here as well. There's Christchurch Engine Centre, which does a lot of engine testing for various airlines and aircraft companies around the world. Altitude Aerospace, which does all of the interiors. There's TE Electronics, there's Rocket Lab, and all of the companies that support Rocket Lab. There's now Dawn Aerospace. There's us. It's growing very, very quickly. There's Key Aerospace. A number of companies popping up now because this is a very ripe place for aerospace. So now's the right time to get involved.
Yeah, and definitely get yourself along to the meetups.
Okay.
And it's a really sort of nice environment. They have some speakers. They'll have 3 or 4 speakers talking about what they're doing in the aerospace space. And then sort of just some networking opportunities afterwards as well. And food.
So when's the next one?
The next one, I believe, is in June. I think it's next month.
Okay.
But if you want to, I can just get your email address, and then you can just sort of get yourself on the list, and you'll be notified coming up.
But we feel
anniversary of the moon landing.
That's right. It's a big one. It's a big one. Yes.
But we feel confident that this is going to be a real game-changing industry. Just that sort of rocketry piece alone. We're one of 11 launch-capable sites in the world. Clear air, so we're confident that we'll be doing. There'll be lots of satellites going off here. That's what Ian Wright wants. Satellites going off every week. So
yes. There was one more question.
Just one more note on that. What Karen was saying about meetups, it actually applies to all subject areas. So don't think, oh darn it, I'm not in the aerospace industry, it doesn't apply to me. if you're an accountant or maybe healthcare or in communications or something like that, there's probably something similar going on in your area. And there are a lot of professional organisations here in New Zealand that have student bodies, and they often have student groups operating here on campus. Get yourself involved with those, because not only are you establishing a network amongst yourselves, but they will regularly have speakers and events also in the evening where you can mix and mingle, with the local business leaders in that area and get to know them. So it's really important that you take advantage of those opportunities. There is also the Ministry of Awesome here in Christchurch, which has, is it once a week they have their
Coffee and Jam,
Coffee and Jam. That's a chance to go along and meet people from all over Christchurch. And they'll have interesting speakers each time, and a chance for you to just informally meet other people, and anybody from any industry can go along to those as well. So Coffee and Jam, Ministry of Awesome, just look it up online.
And just one thing on Meetup, if you go home and go onto meetup.com and you're looking at it, just think laterally about it as well, because if you're looking at the tech industry, and think about their meetups, they do need a lot of business people if you're studying business, or aerospace as well. When we have the aerospace meetups, I've sent it out to lots of students, and they've said, well, that's not relevant to me, I'm a chemical engineer, or a mechanical engineer, and obviously those industries are often full of mechanical engineers, chemical engineers, software engineers, operations, logistics people, so excellent.
And the same applies at the careers fairs too, actually, doesn't it, Robyn? We often find at the careers fairs they're interested in people outside of those specific areas. So at the engineering, science, the STEM, science, technology, engineering and mathematics careers fair that's coming up, they will also be wanting to perhaps employ people in other areas too.
One more last question.
Oh, there was actually somebody at the back who had a last question. Did you still?
Yeah, I have a question for Skybase. I like the quote about big fish in the small pond. But before you big fish, you are small fish. So my question is, what advice would you like to give for small fish?
Good one. That's a great question.
To become a big fish.
What was the breaking point from your perspective when the Skybase, you see that makes sense what you're doing, and you can put all energy just in that direction?
Yeah, okay, good questions. So to go from a small fish to a big fish takes time. You can't do it overnight. You have to keep working at what you're doing and stay focused. And fish hang out in schools, unless it's a shark, in which case it's solo. But generally speaking, that working together, that's how you grow, and turn yourself into a big fish, and always trying to effectively be better than the average. And then I guess the moment that we realise we're on the right path, that's still happening actually, to tell you the truth, because it's an ever-evolving beast. And one month you might think you're the smartest person alive, and then the next month you shake your head and go, what am I doing? So, and that's a startup, right? So startups are like this. People, focus on those unicorns, and they go, oh, you turned into a $1 billion company, in a year, but they forget the 10 years before that, where it's like this, and all the things that go with that. And you have to try different paths, and we've tested lots of different things. You're going, okay, we're going to try this, and that's failed, or it's all about the speed at which you go around. You design, you test, you fail, you redesign, you test, you fail, and that doesn't matter whether it's a marketing channel, a technology channel, HR, and the people you've got in it. You need to test all of these things to make your company work, and we're still testing that. We're making mistakes, and we're learning, and we're growing, and that's part of the process. So, but we're getting closer.
Well, it's 5 o'clock, so we do need to wrap up, but thank you all for coming along and making this event possible, both NZ and Michael from Skybase. Robyn and I are very grateful, and so is the whole careers team. We're grateful to have the support here on campus.